Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Artist Within. Today's guest is Kelly Darke, an art therapist as well as an artist who found a new way to create art with an old art form, embroidery. Let's take a listen at our interview. How did you know you were an artist?
How did I know I was an artist? Ever since I was a kid, I've always made things. I've always collected things, fiber, yarn, fabric, pencils, pens. Like it's something I've always done, and not until I was older did I realize like that was being an artist. You know what I mean? Like it was not something. Um, it was just who I was. It was just what I did as a little kid. So uh, I also remember growing up drawing all the time and just making things, and then Colin, my brother, also like we would do a lot of artwork together because it was something both of us were very into when we were little. So I think that's where it started. So and then ever since then, like it has not. Um, if there's ever been a time where I'm not able to do my art, it's awful. Like I realize how much it's a part of what I do and what I need to do. Because I remember I used to do oil painting, and when I was pregnant the first time, my doctor was like, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't oil paint." And I almost like, I'm
Oh,
like, "What do you mean?" So I had to find something else. I think that's when I started doing more fibers. I was knitting and things.
okay.
So yeah, that's
You are an art therapist, correct?
I am.
What
Yes.
do what does that mean? What does you do?
So, art therapy is a mental health profession, and we use art and the process of making art as part of the process. So, just like you might go to a counselor to talk about what's going on, um, same thing. There's definitely talking and counseling, but we use art along with it. So, and I use it a lot now in a way to build self awareness and reduce stress. So mindfulness is part of the art process.
Cool. What inspired you to do that?
Um, there was a point when after I graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts, I worked in retail for a while and realized I wanted to do something more than that. Um, so even though I was making my art on my own, working in retail was not a whole lot of fun. And I felt like, there's got to be something a little bit more for me to do. And I've always loved psychology. And in fact, when I was younger, like the things I wanted to do, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Right.
I wanted to be a teacher, an artist, and a doctor. Like those were the things that always came up. So being an actual doctor, like, was not going to happen. I can't handle. Like my brother broke his leg, and I went to see him in the hospital, and the doctors were talking about what they would do, and I almost fainted. I'm like, oh, okay, that's not for me. So, but then studying psychology has
Right.
always been super fascinating. Like I love philosophy, psychology, like human behavior and things. Um, and a friend of mine had mentioned art therapy to me years ago, and I was like, that really, like that to me, I was like, wait, art and psychology together, because I'm like, that's what I already kind of do for myself. So
Right.
it totally made sense. And then I'm like, wow, I can go to school. Like, so Wayne State University has a graduate program for art therapy, and it's like the only one in Michigan. So that's where I went there for art therapy, and it was fascinating because, like I said, I love the psychology. So it's like art classes and psychology classes, and put all that together. And um, so that was awesome. So that's why I decided to do that. I wanted to go back and go back to school and do something a little bit more. Um, and it just seemed like such a perfect fit.
Cool. So I've
Yeah.
noticed you do embroidery, but I've never seen it done as you do it. The
Yeah. All right.
the portfolios. First of all, about how long does each project take? It looks like
the,
it takes decades.
the portrait. I estimated one of them was about 100 hours.
Wow.
So, but it's like really every time I start tracking the time, I stop because I'm like,
Right.
whatever. I kind of don't want to know how long it takes. Because there's days I will spend, like, I know for a fact I've sat down, like, I did you see the portrait I did of Colin? Like, I
Yeah.
did one of my brother. Um, and, like, I distinctly remember one day, like, towards finishing it, like, it felt like it was close to finishing. And I'd spend, like, 9 or 10 hours for, like, a few days in a row. And I'm like, how is it not done yet? But it's really, that's why it's hard to track the time, because it's definitely takes a while. I get a little bit faster the more that I do, the more I do them, because I'm more accurate, I think, or just, I mean, as with practice with anything, right? You get a little bit faster and better at it. But it still takes quite a while, and it's really hard to estimate the time. But yeah, I think I like a 12 by 12, like the self-portrait I did of myself, self-portrait. Um, that's when I estimated was like 100 hours.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's great.
Wow. Did you have you seen that before, or you just thought I'm gonna make a portrait using thread?
I had been doing abstract ones for quite a while. And before that, I had also done some flowers in black and white. So it was embroidery, but it was very minimal embroidery and looked kind of like a sketch, like the
Okay.
cross-hatching lines of a sketch. And then I am not sure why I had the idea of doing portraits. Oh, I know. I started with one of my son. He was taking a nap on the couch with his cat, and I took a picture of it. And I was like, this is so cute, right? And because he was like 12 at the time, he had the cat since he was 9. It's like, so it was just really sweet. And I just thought that would be a good challenge, right? So
Right.
that's kind of where that started. So it was, I mean, it's harder than doing abstracts. So it was a challenge. It took me a long time, and I think because I kept stopping. I don't know if you do this or other artists, something that you're working on is challenging, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch over to this one for a little bit, and so then, like, a month later, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'll pick it up again and work on it some more. And so finally, finished that one. And then, it was really interesting. I just kept flipping back and forth. I would do abstract ones, and then I would try another portrait type one. So now I don't know if it's just more confident, like I'm enjoying them more. Like, it's challenging for sure, but um,
You know what
definitely,
you're doing more now than before.
yeah, yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
So last question. If you had the chance to speak to an artist, dead or alive, which one would it be and why?
Um, Joan Miro.
Okay.
Um, I read an article before. I researched him. He used to be one of my favorite artists, painters. Um, and the one thing that stuck with me from reading about him was that his discipline, like his discipline to his work. And he had his studio, and he would get up and he'd be there at 6 a.m. and he would work all day. And when he took breaks, he would go walk the property, and collect things that were for inspiration or whatever. And I think I even saved there was an article in, like, Art News, like 15, 20 years ago, I don't know. And I still have the article, because I'm like, that to me, like, that's inspiring in the sense of the dedication, right? Like, and I know times are different and everybody's situations are different, but I feel like he knew that's what he was going to do.
Right.
Like, I think his dad wanted him to be a dentist or doctor. I don't remember, but something like that. And it's like, no, I'm making art. This is what I do, and set his routine and discipline to really just go all in, which is awesome. And that's inspiring. So that's, yeah, that would be the one I'd want to talk to.
Cool. Well, thank you for your time. You're watching the artist. You're watching the artist within. That's it for this episode. We hope to see you again for another episode of The Artist Within. I'm Casey Bell, your host. Thanks for watching.